Hello there and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a beginner English paper piecing project. Please let me know in that comment box down below if you've ever tried English paper piecing before or this is totally new to you. This is a beginner English paper piecing project. And what is English paper piecing? So generally you will start with a piece of, it's better to do cardstock for English paper piecing. I find that paper isn't quite strong enough because you want to fold this fabric over this cardstock, and using cardstock is definitely more preferable for English paper piecing. So basically you will fold your fabric over this piece of paper here. And I do have a full tutorial on how to do English paper piecing, and I will link that in the screen at the top if it's shown as a card, and I will link it in the description box down below on how to do English paper piecing. So basically this would be inside here, and you would baste around the English paper piecing part, and then I like to give it a nice firm press, take the paper out, and then I'll store them in a little box. I like to store all of my English paper pieces in this little plastic container that you can get from the well-known craft stores. For our beginner English paper piecing project, we are going to need 2 pieces of fabric measuring in at 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches, and also a piece of batting, quilter's batting. I have lots of leftovers and this project is perfect for any of your scrapped batting. So this is 6.5 by 6.5 also. I have 4 coordinating squares for my English paper piecing project, and these are 3.5 by 3.5. Now I'm going to use one of my pieces of English paper piecing. This is just one of my hexagons. I'm going to start with the square sections first for our English paper piecing project, and with the 3.5 inch squares by 3.5 inch, I want you to draw a line right across the middle, and I've done this with a friction pen so I can iron it out, and we are going to place each one of these in all 4 corners. We're going to start with one corner first to make it easy. I'm going to start with this square, and I'm going to use it at the left hand side of the bigger square, and we are going to sew all the way down here. I sew using a Babylock Soprano sewing machine. I'm not paid nor sponsored to create this video. In the top of my bobbin thread, I'm just going to have a regular cream or white polyester. Generally, if you're sewing with a darker fabric, I always use a black, and if I'm using a lighter fabric, I will use a white or a cream. In the needle, I have a 9014 sewing needle. I'm going to just use my regular sewing foot and also some white bobbin thread in my bobbin area. And these are the settings on my machine. I'm also going to press this pivot key, and I'll show you what that does in a second. Do you use a Babylock Soprano? Let me know in the comments down below, and what do you think of your Babylock Soprano? You're just going to make sure that everything's lined up, and then we're just going to sew right along that line. And you're going to go all the way down. Every time I stop with my foot accelerator, this presser foot will automatically raise, so I'm not having to go to the back of the machine, and this is what that pivot key does. So if you are using a Babylock Soprano, use that pivot key because it really does help. Let me know if you use it in that comment box down below. So what we do next is this corner up here is going to replace this corner down here. So as we fold it back, it's now going to be a lovely pink corner. So before we do that, we are going to have to cut this section here 1/4 inch. I've got everything lined up. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So we're just going to cut that. And then that will take off this pink part and this white part. And then we have this part here that we can then fold back over, and it creates this corner. Take this to the iron and press. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to pick another corner to use on our English paper piecing project. If you would like to pin, please go ahead and pin. Do you use pins? I have a habit of just like holding on to fabric and take it over to my sewing machine. Let me know if you use pins. This is what our English paper piece project looks so far, and obviously it needs the English paper piece section for it to be an English paper piece project. So basically I want to find the center of this particular project. So how you do that is just fold it in half and just finger press, and then fold it in half again, and then press that. And then right here is going to be the center of your project, like so. It's got a nice little cursor here. So then you can get your piece. And it's nice actually because it's got this kind of square, and you've got a square point on your English paper piece and piece. So you can find the center of it. And then here I would probably recommend pinning if you don't pin. So if you're not a pinner, then I would pin this English paper piece and part to the center so it doesn't move. I'm going to take my English paper piece and part over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to select the blanket stitch on my Baby Lock Soprano. And before we do that, we are going to attach the back to the back side of this top section, the batting piece at the back, because we're going to need some stabilization on the back, and that will act as a stabilization for when we're sewing around our English paper piece in part. Now I'm going to use this stitch here, this number 28. It's not a regular blanket stitch like the ladder here, but it's a little bit unusual. I do like the look of it. So we're going to use this to attach our English paper piece in to our fabric. I have also placed some pink thread into the top thread just because I want it to look really pretty. And I'm going to sew around my English paper piece in part. You might want to go slow. I have a habit of going very quick, and with this being a decorative stitch on your Baby Lock Soprano, you maybe just want to go a little bit slower. Just a little tip when you come to the end of a decorative stitch on your Baby Lock Soprano, make sure that you press this, can't quite see it here. So there's this little key here that has a heart on it, and this stops the repetition of the decorative stitch. So if I press that heart key again, it'll show like it's going to be continuous, and when you just do that one, it's just going to do that one stitch. So then you're catching right at the end of your decorative stitch on your Baby Lock Soprano. Just look how cute this English paper piece in part is, and this stitching here just went slightly off here, but if you wanted to do a practice run before you're doing your final English paper piece in project, then I would probably recommend that. So to finish this English paper piece and project off, I'm going to turn it into a lovely little coaster. And I don't really want to do any binding, and the easiest way to do a coaster without doing any binding is to flip it right sides out. So basically you have this top section with our English paper piece and part on it, and then you've got the batting, and then basically you're going to take your fabric. Now I don't have an obvious right side. If you do have an obvious right side, it's going to be right sides facing right sides. So you've got your English paper piece and part facing the whatever pattern is on your fabric. So you're going to put them right sides together, and you're going to sew around, but you're going to leave a space somewhere at least about 2 inches. Now that we've done that, there is just a little bit of excess around here that I'm going to cut around, and as I'm doing that, I'm going to inform you that I have hundreds and hundreds of YouTube tutorials, so you really should subscribe to my channel. I have sewing and quilting tutorials. Now we're going to flip everything right sides out, and guys, I know this is really easy sewing project. Don't knock any of these really simple sewing projects, because it's just a manageable bite-size tutorial, and you really do learn a lot from these types of tutorials. So if you want to try like English paper piecing without having to go all in on doing a quilt, this is the perfect project for you. Now we're going to press everything down once again. I'm going to fold this opening over, and then get it nice and straight so it doesn't look like it's going in on itself. Just make sure that this is nice, pressed straight. I'm going to keep the white in, and we're going to sew all the way around here, just probably like a scant quarter. And then also I am going to like stitch in the ditch all of these here. So stitching in a ditch is where you literally stitch right on this line, and we're doing that so it doesn't move about on us, the coaster. And here we have it. This is the finished English paper piecing beginners project. Let me know in the comments box down below if you're going to try this. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and comment down below. It really helps my channel when you do that. Thank you so much. Bye bye.